Frog and Toad Are Friends by Arnold Lobel. Hey, boys and girls, Mr. Reilly and Dulce here.
Hi, boys and girls.
Today we're going to read from one of my favorite books, Frog and Toad Are Friends by Arnold Lobel. And he wrote the story and he drew the pictures. And we're going to read a story today called A Lost Button. A Lost Button.
I would be sad if I lost my button.
Yeah, because your buttons are... Okay, we'll find it if you ever lose it, Dulce.
Okay.
Frog and Toad went for a long walk. They walked across a large meadow. They walked in the woods. They walked along the river. At last they went back home to Toad's house. "Oh, drat," said Toad.
Wait,
What?
what is a meadow?
A meadow is like a field of grass.
Oh.
Not only do my feet hurt, but I have lost one of the buttons on my jacket.
He's grumpy.
He is a little grumpy because he lost a button.
Yeah.
"Don't worry," said Frog. "We will go back to all the places where we walked. We will soon find your button." They walked back to the large meadow. They began to look for the button in the tall grass.
Yeah.
"Here's your button," cried Frog. "That is not my button," said Toad.
What is it?
"I don't know. We'll see. That button is black. My button was white." Toad put the black button in his pocket. So it was a different color.
Wait, who lost the button?
Toad lost the button. And Frog is his buddy. He's helping him out.
Oh, which one's Toad?
Toad is the smaller one.
I gotta see.
And Frog is the bigger one.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right. Thank you. A sparrow flew down. "Excuse me," said the sparrow. "Did you lose a button? I found one." "That is not my button," said Toad. "That button has 2 holes. My button had 4 holes." Toad put the button with the 2 holes in his pocket. They went back to the woods and looked on the dark paths. "Here's your button," said Frog. "That is not my button," cried Toad. "That button is small. My button was big." Toad put the small button in his pocket.
It seems like a lot of people lose buttons in this town.
I wouldn't think so many would do that, but yeah, I guess so. People got to watch their buttons.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
No, you don't want to lose a button.
Nope.
A raccoon came out from behind a tree. "I heard that you were looking for a button," he said. "Here's one that I just found." Another one.
Oh my gosh.
"That is not my button," wailed Toad. "That button is square. My button was round." Toad put the square button in his pocket. Frog and Toad went back to the river. They looked for the button in the mud. "Here is your button," said Frog. "That is not my button," shouted Toad. "That button is thin. My button was thick."
He's so grumpy.
He's getting a little grumpy.
Wait.
What?
I have a prediction.
You have a prediction. That means she thinks she knows what's going to happen. What's your prediction, Dulce?
Well, I'm thinking that his pocket's full of buttons.
I think you're right. He's keeping all the buttons. Toad put the thin button in his pocket. He was very angry. You're right. He jumped up and down and screamed, "The whole world is covered with buttons and not one of them is mine." Toad ran home and slammed the door.
He's so mad. He's so grumpy.
Yeah. There on the floor, he saw his white, 4-holed, big, round, thick button. "Oh," said Toad. "It was here all the time. What a lot of trouble I have made for Frog."
Yep.
Toad, oh look, he's getting all those buttons that he kept. Toad took out all of the buttons out of his pocket. He took his sewing box down from the shelf. Toad sewed the buttons all over his jacket. The next day, Toad gave his jacket to Frog. Frog thought it was beautiful. He put it on and jumped for joy. Yay! And none of the buttons fell off. Toad had sewed them on very well.
That's nice.
I like that story. What's that story about, Dulce?
And the toad,
Yeah.
he he thought he lost the button.
And he did, right?
Oh yeah, he lost the button.
Yeah, did they try and find it?
Then his friend tried so hard to help him.
He did. It's a story about friendship, boys
But
and girls.
Toad, he's not happy.
No.
He was not happy.
No, he wasn't happy. You're
And
right.
then?
Yeah.
And then he go home.
Right?
And then he saw the button at home.
He sewed all the buttons at home to make a gift for
No,
who?
I say he found
Oh,
the button
you're right.
at home.
He found it. It was on the ground. Picked it up.
You know what?
Had a button. What?
Sometimes I lose things,
Yeah.
and then I find them.
Me too. Hey, Dulce, I want to ask you something. What was the genre of this story? What kind of a story was it?
Well, it wasn't real.
No, it wasn't real. That's right. So it's called a fiction story. Fiction means it's like a fantasy. Means it's made up.
It sounds like fake.
Fiction and fake both start with an F. That's the way you can remember it, boys and girls. Fiction and fake. Very good.
It's fake, but I still like it. even
I
if
love
it's
it. I
fake.
love it. It's great.
The fake things, I still like them.
Me too. All right, boys and girls, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, boys and girls.
Bye-bye.
I want to see.
I know. She likes to look at you.
Get to work.
See you guys.
I'm hungry.